Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Indira Ghosh from Jawaharlal Nehru University. Today we are going to discuss about a module which is graph theory based approach to chemicals and functional descriptors. This is the part under the paper of computation biology. Today, the learning objectives is how to represent the molecules, also how the graph theory and other representations have a relationship with the molecules, as well as doing how we can depict these molecules in different representations. The basic principle by which we use to represent the molecules is its structure, chemical structure of any molecule. It can be biological molecule like macromolecule, or it can be even the small molecule like chemistry. We will be learning how chemicals, different kind of chemicals actually, can be represented in different ways. One is single 1D to 2D. 1D is simple molecules, 2D is not just the formula but how they are connected, etc. How we are going to evaluate these structures or similarity between these similar structures, how we are going to learn about also how we represent two different ways. One, simply line notation, convert them into 2D structures. We are also going to learn how we work on matrix representation, which keeps not only the linear rotations but some other more important information which is relevant to chemistry and biology. There are several softwares and many more are not listed here, which mostly displays. So you provide a chemical formula and it displays the 2D structures. Now how it does? It does because it calculates the bonds, all the bonds of double bond, single bond, etc. And it makes a connectivity between each one of them and depicts in a graphical systems. So basically these four softwares are used many often, so I have shown you this. Provided the 2D structure, something like simple notation, we should be able, under the structure diagram, we should be able to represent the chemical structure as display on computer screen. Also, we should be able to look at the structure, part of the structure, take them on our doc or other file format so that we can use the computational utilities for these particular chemicals. We also will be learning how to convert this information into something which is more important functionally, like can we do the database searching by just taking a part of it? Can we do the chemical structure analysis of that part of or fragment of the molecule? Can we do more than that? Can we find the chemical properties which is physico-chemically related to the chemistry? Also, using all these properties, can we do a database analysis? That means how much the data contain and what are the predictions we can get from this database. Next, we talk about this linear notation, that is how you can explain. The previous module I have referred to WLN. Here I would talk about that how simplified WLN with much less rules or rather chemical informations taken and the new line notations have come up. Line notations are very useful. The reason is they are alphanumeric symbols. They are very simply can be handled by computer. Also, they can be stored very quickly. They can be searched very quickly, and that's why it has been used. This is the most popular and more or less standardized smiles, and there are new concept called unique smiles also to overcome the previous problems like having two notations depicting the same molecules. Here I give you by this particular chemical which is you are very well known of is phenylalanine, and you can see that the written simple smile notation is shown below the structure, and this is how it has been written and seems to be this is very small amount of computer space. How you do the encodings? Atoms are shown just like a chemical symbol, so you don't have to remember. Hydrogens are assessed just, they are not filled pairs because the spare valencies are filled up by them. There are double bonds, single bonds are shown by computer keys like hyphen, equal to, etc., hash. Branching are indicated by parentheses. Ring closures are shown by different pairs matching digits. Hence, this is very simple to remember by the users and is more chemical sense. Hence, you can read the full rules as shown in the bottom. This is something called a valid notations. So, this is a structure and you can note them all the three ways. All the three chemicals are shown. And the reference is shown on the bottom, and you can go through this and read them and in details as well on web. So here is example with three different ways of smiles, and all the three are allowed. That means a computer search algorithm takes care of all the three and depicts it just like the similar one. Branches. Here you can see two types of branches and only one branch is left side, and this is the exercise branch. You can work out and find the answers. So another I will show you, and that is most important in chemistry. Does it keep the chirality? Here I have shown you two molecules and how the chirality is kept. So one has to look from the nitrogen, amino nitrogen, to the chiral C. And that is how we write also the smile. If you write the smile the same way, your chirality would be kept properly. And the examples are depicted here and more details are talked in the web link. We are going to now talk about the basic introduction about the graph theory, which is relevant to calculate certain part of the chemistry or chemical graphs. How you search these graphs? By the graph theory. Because we have the chemistry in our hand and can depict them as a concept of graph and 2D graphs, so we do this graph theory. Now, approach of graph theory also have been used by two ways. One is isomorphism procedure, and where you compare two graphs, pair of graphs, where you actually one does is maximum common subgraph isomorphism. And then it gives you the largest possible similar part of a molecule between one or two molecule or many molecule and one query. But it is very time consuming. However, better and better algorithm has come out. What are graphs? Graphs is nothing but this kind of example. Here it's shown on the top is the graph of the graph depiction of railway line or metro lines in Britain or under the London. And right side is the whole country's lifeline or routes for Britons all over the country. Even the graph can be depicted by using Polaris, like one of the constellation in that. So graphs can be applied to any system where you have at least, as it's shown in the next slide, is at least the graphs are which are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. What is these dots? Dots are nodes. So in depicting any graph, you have to have nodes, and connecting to nodes will have edges. These nodes can have different kind of notations, like you can have nodes and edges, then you can have connectivity between them. You can have label on the nodes. If you label it, you call it a label graph, like shown in the bottom. In chemistry, a lot of times we use label graphs. And what are the ways you can mathematically represent the graphs, compare the graphs? There is something called degree of node, which is shown in blue. There is a leaf node, which ends without any ring. And there is a path, which is shown by red color. That is, to go from 2 to 2, you can have one path on the left hand side. You can have another path, which will be the extreme largest path to come to point 2, 3, 2, 2. There are cycles. What are they? The path which returns to its starting point is called cycle, depicted by red colors. Tree, there can be tree which has no cycles at all, and you can see the open path cycle is called tree. There are subgraphs. What is a subgraph? Which contains some of the subset of nodes and connected edges. Hence, you can depict them. There is something called spanning tree. Tree is the one which actually subgraph that contains all the node, but not necessarily all the edges, is called the spanning tree. Many a time spanning tree is used for more isomorphic calculations of the two graphs. Here I show simply connected graph, which is the phenylalanine or tyrosine. Here it's shown tyrosine, and depiction of tyrosine amino acid is shown on the right hand side. But there can be something called fully connected graph, which is shown as a histidine molecule is being shown as if it is fully connected graph. Now graphs can be fully connected, may not be fully connected. There could be two disconnected graphs, and this is the example on the top is the disconnected graphs. However, a disconnected graphs can be also depicted by subgraphs. A subgraph which contains subset of all the nodes and the pairs of which link to a path, as it's shown in the blue color is one subset, red color is another subset. Each of these subset are called to be component of our previous total molecule. Graph terminologies also include something called forest, which is contains many of the graphs, but they are disconnected graphs. Plenty of those also are. That should be a property of this forest would be that it must have many components of graphs. Here I show you how to do the find the substructure fragment. Basically use graph theory to identify this. However, this is a substructure fragment. These are the subgraphs. This can be identified. Now, if we have a feature of functional groups which we call hydroxyl, which is shown by red color, and the greens are NH2 or blue as COH. Phenyl group is another functional group is shown in magenta. Now, if we want to trace this as a subgraphs, we can actually divide the whole molecule into 4 subgraphs which are important as function. And we can overlap the subgraphs in another substructure fragment business. Now, most importantly, what are the utilities is that they need not be connected features. So, to compare two structures of a chemistry, you can actually use not connected graphs as substructure or fragment comparison. Here is the example as I showed. Can we have a substructure fragments which is connected? Yes. You can do the systematic subgraphs which is shown in this color. Red color is a systematic which contains 2 of the features together. Or immediate neighborhood which is the blue shows. So it can have that kind of overlap. These all substructure fragments can be indexed. All can be searched in a huge database. Also, any ambiguous representation has to be assigned. Also, we should have the list of features in advance depicted. This is what is necessary for searching for substructure fragment or feature selections. This can be applied to any open-ended list. Now, we cannot do this if we do not have a already controlled vocabulary or dictionary for the features. However, we can, once we design that such depictions, we can always use for any enormous amount of list for searching of database. This method is very fast. We must remember one important feature of these graphs, and that is most important to remember, because one must be very carefully look at the graphs. Graphs are only about nodes and edges and connectivity. The spatial position of these nodes is irrelevant. Hence, length of the nodes are also irrelevant. Crossing edges are irrelevant. How you draw it is irrelevant. It's shown in the following pictures. All the 3 graphs are actually isomorphs. They are the similar graphs, absolutely similar graphs, but they look very different. That does not affect the mathematical operation between the graphs. Now comes, we can essentially do some more work above it. That is, we can color a graph, like we can color all by their atom and distinguish the graphs. And doing such, we should be able to make atoms as nodes, bond as edges. Even bonds can be characterized by double bond, single bond by coloring atoms. Also, we can have implicit hydrogens, which reduces the numbers by very less, and this counting also is used very many cases. Many cases it has been used for hydrogen bond to another atom. This is spatial hydrogens has been depicted, and all these can be done in graph searching. The advantage of using graphs is that we can apply all the mathematical methods which is applicable to graph, which makes it a computer accessible. And one can process the graphs very easily because it's represented by a very simple computational process. Obviously, it has no nodes and edges. Many already existing algorithms can be utilized very efficiently to analyze the data. Large amount of chemical structures can be analyzed by using these graphical theories and very fast. Complex structures also can be analyzed because using graph and superimposability as well as isomorphism property of graphs can be actually applied very efficient by computer algorithm. Another good advantage is one can annotate a large graph theory systems and annotate the database. One can actually subset of database can be extracted by finding isomorphisms. Basic assumption behind all these are the simple structures of chemistry. If they are similar, then their biological properties probably will be very similar or will be very nearby. Also, if there are two different chemical structures which are depicted by two different graphs, then their biological properties also will be very different. And this assumption most often has been found to be very relevant in designing new compounds, extracting the similar chemical compounds from large database, also to find diverse structural compounds, where we can apply the dissimilarity or not similar structures and collect them for high throughput screening, etc. Large data handling and using computers is the most relevant feature here when comes to the graphical representation of chemical structures. However, there are some disadvantage of using graphs, and that is not necessarily all the identical molecules are identical graphs, and not necessarily different graphs gives different molecules. However, there are other properties which causes the difficulties in graph isomorphism, like aromaticity, tautomerism, multi-center atoms, and many graph algorithms are inherently very slow because they take care of the chemistry of the molecule. So 2D structure depictions is a very important topic here to discuss. If one structures are already stored in 2D concepts, we can use mile notation to keep it in the structures. Many structures can be fitted. However, if we want to take the structure and depict by algorithm used are for graphical representation, finding other work like putting or cut pasting on our document files, find the similarity by using graphs. However, one has to follow certain rules. First, we have to find out how the algorithm works with the depiction, graphical interface. Second, we must identify the rings properly and the systems properly. So, fixing the rings without having any collision is another trick which is used for 2D structure to 3D representation. Many cases like chemical abstract, etc., has a standard way of depicting the formula from smile notation to depicting into a structure, and those rules are followed, actually developed as a code in computer systems and are available for usage for most of the user, and they will always be represented chemical preferences, like it should be always having its name, like label. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur will be numbered or named, and this is the notation which followed in most of the cases of 2D structure depiction. There is another representation called matrix representation. Calculation of paths by matrix operations can be done. Matrix of structure of n atom consists of an array of n into n. What it means is all atoms can go on rows and their connectivities can go on the values as the element of the matrix. In a matrix in which each atom is described twice is called redundant. Hence, we normally do not use half of the matrix in case of similar matrix. Expression of matrix representation takes care of 3D structure depiction also. I will go detail about how to make from 1D, 2D to 3D in later modules. However, it's more complicated than representing them in graphs or in 2D. And you require to store much more information, not only just the single bond, double bond, but their lengths, their angles, and their torsions. That is how they actually behave or their orientation in respect to space. Hence, you need to keep a lot more information. Also, to build the connectivity matrix, etc., you require to know the chemical hybridization state. That means double bonds are specified as sp2, sp2, triple bonds are specialized as sp, sp, and single bonds are specialized between two carbons are sp3. So chemistry is also preserved in 3D structures. Also, the bond length and bond angles will differ as sp2, sp3, which does not happen when you present them in graph or in matrix. Now comes each of the 3D structure representation also requires the volume, space, and avoid each atom bumps. That means hitting each atom to another atom. So we require to generate different kind of programs for making the 3D structure depiction. Whereas in 2D structure and in the next matrix generation the matrices, we would avoid such a 3D structure depictions. I'll come to the matrices. There are two very important matrices which uses all the chemical information, and almost every searching and similarity can be used by using adjacency matrix and distance matrix. Adjacency matrix actually give the Boolean matrix. It gives 1 if two atoms are connected. If they are not connected, it's called 0. It does not provide any concept about the bond order. That means whether it's a double bond, single bond, etc. Whereas distance matrix is shortest distance between the two atoms. This distance can be depicted by geometrical distance, means actual distance, or topological distance also, which are not, that is how many number of bonds one has to traverse to go from one point to another point. There are another correspondingly same, you get atom connectivity matrix and you get bond matrix. Atom connectivity matrix actually includes not only the atom connection but also the bond order and atom type. It also includes incidence matrix, which is another way of looking at N into M matrix, where nodes define the columns and edges defines, that's the bonds defines the rows. So entry obtain the value 1 means corresponding edge ends in the particular node. So bond matrix is, on the other hand, gives you information about bond order. If it is a 2, that means it's a double bond. If we write 3, it's a triple bond. So these two matrices are not like other earlier, they are not Boolean. Now comes what is the representation and matrix evaluation for representation. There are 2 points here. There are a lot of advantages as it's known to all of us. One is it's coded. It can be completely coded. This is the advantage of having matrix representation as well as graph representation. Matrix operation can be used on matrices very easily. So you can have overlaps, you can have similarity, etc., etc. Also can be shown, and you can picture them as well because you have bits of 0 and 1. It can be done very fast. As well, distance matrix can describe the geometric distance between two atoms. Whereas bond orders and valence electrons are kept, so chemistry also can be disseminated from the matrices. Disadvantages: this number of matrix entries, it grows with the square number of atoms. So you can imagine the complex molecules will have a huge amount of matrix to work out. Bond matrix and B matrices like bond order matrices, this can be represented by bits. No stereochemistry is included. That's the problem. See, you cannot operate Boolean algebra on bond matrix. Also, we cannot use no stereochemistry preservation is done in matrix representation. Now, Adjacent matrix and distance matrix also cannot be used to get the number of free electron or chemical properties. So these are the difficulties of evaluation of matrix representation. However, the great advantage of matrix representation is most of the mathematical operation can be done. It can be used computationally very well and very fast. Both the cases, this is the advantage for using matrix representations over the graph representation. So today we learned very simple notation of chemistry based like smiles, how to converge them into 2D structure like a graphical representation, how to estimate the similarity fragment based approach, structure, substructure searching from large database, or search for the different non-similar structures as well and depict them. We also learned today matrix representation, which actually preserve many of the component of chemistry more than the just the graph systems. So we actually in matrix learn not only the Boolean algebra operations, we also learn the actual geometric distance to preserve. This matrix representation has better edge over the simple graphs because it preserves also, can be preserved also the bond order, which is a chemically very important feature in the view. So we have taught today how to use chemical notations, simple chemical notations like smiles, how to analyze them by graph representations, and how to analyze them using matrix representation. Next chapter would be on the descriptors which will derive from these operations.